What up? This is Rama Screen, and I'm talking with one of the stars of False Positive, Sophia Bush. How are you, Sophia?
Hey Rama, I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking the time. This is not your first rodeo in the horror genre, of course, but what was your reaction when you first read Ilana's script, and were you surprised that this comes from somebody whose background is comedy?
Well, I think, knowing Alana for a long time and being sort of cross-country friends, really concerned with social justice, I know her propensity for very serious introspective conversation. And it's a thing I genuinely have admired about her for so long. I I was surprised because she had given me information about the script I was going to read when she sent it to me, and I was still shocked by it. And that to me is the mark of really great writing. And I think that her and John Lee did such a phenomenal job with this. Um, it it's so uncomfortable and also so honest and authentic. And whew, yeah, I just remember the first time I read it. By the time I got to the end, I felt like I was covered in bugs. My skin was crawling.
So your character is a paralegal named Corrigan who is part of Lucy's circle of friends, but turns out Corrigan is a little bit of shady there. So let me ask you, is she a good friend or is she a bad friend? What do you think?
I really had to come to figure out how to play Corrigan as a representation
Mm,
of women, often privileged white women who operate in the world unknowingly. Uh, that doesn't excuse the harm they do, but as agents of the patriarchy. Corrigan thinks she is a great friend. I think
mm.
Corrigan is unaware of the harm that she does in some of the ways that she behaves. And those are conversations I think are that we all really need to have in terms of really doing some self-interrogation. And oh God, it just made me so uncomfortable to be the kind of woman sitting across from a woman who is my friend on camera, obviously, but listening to her share her deepest, darkest fears and then saying, well, what does your husband think?
Mm.
Uh, I was like, why does a person who doesn't exist in her body get an opinion about her experience in her body? But it's such a way we've been cultured for so long. And I had to find a way to believe in a woman who hasn't done as much unlearning as I've done. And it was kind of a doozy of an experience at times.
So if we were Lucy, if we had a Corrigan in our circle of friends, do we keep her close or do we keep a distance?
Oh man, I would run for the hills, but that's just me.
And finally, what does this movie say about a woman's right to choose, or is that political undertone not intentional in this film?
Oh, the political undertone's very intentional. I
Mm,
mean, the idea that a woman is not the executor and sole agent of her body is a horror.
mm,
And so I think, this movie was partially a reaction to the real things that have happened to women across the country, partially a reaction to the draconian attacks on women launched by the Trump administration, and even coming out now, very well timed given those draconian attacks continuing with the horrible bill that Greg Abbott just signed into law in Texas, and the potential challenges to Roe v. Wade now that Amy Coney Barrett has been installed, by the way, as an agent of the patriarchy on the Supreme Court. I think we cannot for one moment assume that women's agency over their own bodies, their futures, their families, and their finances is secure until we have beaten back uh, a real sect of society that desires to keep us disempowered. And so weirdly, this feels more relevant than ever.
all right. Sophia Bush, thank you so much for talking to me and congratulations.
Thank you, Rama.